This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
The trial of Lori Vallow Daybell continues on, and I know yesterday I said maybe she's going to surprise us. Maybe we're going to see a totally different side of Lori Vallow Daybell. I take all that back.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Well, I haven't watched much of it today yet. We're about to watch Kent Keller, who was the captain of the Chandler Fire Department back at the time. So he was one of the folks who responded to the murder of Charles Vallow. And we're going to watch a piece of Lori doing cross on this. The prosecution just got done kind of outlining what happened. And we'll now see Lori ask him the questions. We did get a little bit of a preview yesterday after opening statements, which she surprised me on. I thought she did better than I thought she would, which that's a pretty low bar, right. But she still like kind of hit the low bar. Mm-hmm. When she's now cross-examining people, it's more kind of like I watched some crime shows and now I'm just going to go up and act and say words that really don't pertain to anything. I'm just going to ask random questions. There's no real cognitive direction I'm going with anything. And it's basically filling time to make you feel like you got your participation trophy. That's really kind of what it's feeling like right now. Is that how you're how are you taking this?
Well, I sent you a link to something that I'm feeling from this. I'm getting Legally Blonde vibes out of this. Now, if you don't know what that is, you should look it up, because there's a courtroom scene in Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon where Elle Woods, who is a Harvard law student, she is prosecuting somebody in court. Mm-hmm. First time she's ever done this. And she's asking really stupid questions. But because it's Hollywood, she finally picks up on something that is pivotal, and gets her to what she needs. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's going to happen. She's not going to hit her stride here, but I'm feeling Elle Woods at this point without the happy conclusion.
I feel like Elle Woods is far more competent. Honestly,
absolutely.
I mean, far more. Like this is like Elle Woods on a bad day.
Yes.
So let's without further ado just jump into it. This is some Kent Keller testimony from day number 2 of the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. Let me just bring it up over here and we'll watch and listen.
I like her jacket, though. It's cute.
I wonder if she knitted it in prison.
Maybe.
Captain Keller.
Yes.
You were first on the scene?
The police department was first, but yes, we were the first fire unit.
First fire on the scene. Mm-hmm. And can you explain to us what staging is exactly? I'm not really sure.
Sure. Staging, when there is some violent incident, the fire department, the firefighters don't have protective equipment for that sort of a scene. So we will go to a place where close to whatever the dispatched address is, that we would be a place of safety, but close so that as soon as the scene is made safe by the police department, then we would enter into the scene.
So that would be like a couple houses away, or?
Could be a couple houses, could be behind cover. In this case, it was a gunshot was the call. So you want to make sure that you are a little ways away,
Okay.
In case there was more gunshots.
For safety.
Right. So you parked somewhere on the street, but a couple houses down from the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then part of that staging is you stay there until you get the all clear?
Yes, until the police department says that it's safe to enter the scene.
Okay. And you were wearing body cam that day?
No, we don't wear body cam.
Oh, you don't wear body cam? Okay. You were just that was a picture from you on the body cam.
On the
On someone else's
officers.
body cam.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you use any instruments to obtain current body temperature? Do you
No.
guys have an instrument for that?
No.
No? Would that help you give a more approximate time of calling a time of death?
It wouldn't
They don't
help me.
call it.
I'm not trained to do that, so we don't have that. It's not within our scope of practice.
Bring a meat thermometer.
It's not part of paramedics training.
No, that's the medical.
It's Lori Vallow. Don't expect her to know what the
I
hell
know.
she's
I'm
doing.
sorry, and I'm an EMT or used to be.
Explained
So
the modeling being patchy looking skin
Yes.
because of no oxygen to the skin. Is that correct?
Decreased, yes.
Where are we
so-
going?
Will that continue to increase? I don't really understand. Like it, would you say modeling is complete or in progress? How does that work?
I would say in progress as less and less tissue had oxygenation. I would say it continues to model.
So would you say it was in early progress or late progress? How would you estimate
that's not
that?
for him to decide.
I could not say early or late, just modeling.
I feel like everybody's just kind of like letting her do her
That
thing.
modeling
Just
was
like,
present.
it doesn't matter. Just
But
let her
that's-
go.
That's
How
not their
long
job.
would it take for modeling to become present? That's kind of my question.
I don't know.
It's kind of your question.
So it could be like
Different for different.
Do you have any good recipes for sourdough?
so it could be a minute, 5 minutes.
No.
Hold on. Rephrase the question. I'll allow it, but make sure you let him answer before you ask your next question.
Okay. So it could be just a few minutes, possibly.
Possibly. I don't know.
Okay. And then lividity, you explained as a pooling of blood. The blood leaves the tissues and goes to the bottom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you saw that as well?
Yes.
And in your estimation, would that have happened soon? You know what I'm... Oh, that's not a
No,
good
it
question.
takes time.
I feel like she's trying to treat
In
this
your
like it's a
estimation,
police
that had
corruption
begun?
case, which it's not.
Right.
And was it advancing how far?
I can't say.
He had lividity on the back of his torso,
So does lividity...
backs of his arms.
Does lividity start immediately after
No.
the heart stops? Is that what you were saying?
I suppose it does.
Okay. And if you were on any kind of medication, would that affect that as well?
I couldn't say.
How is any of this relevant to anything?
And what time of death did you document? You were making the document, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what time of death did you document?
I did not put time of death, but I put a time of treatment being ceased, and I don't recall what that time was. It's on that report.
And you had stated that you were listening to dispatch on the radio, is that correct?
Yes.
So were you listening
That's what
to
they
the
do.
actual 911 operator speaking?
No. Whoever is calling, if you call on the phone to a 911 operator,
It's like
they would give that information to
the
a
school tour is coming by. Here's how this works.
Yeah.
call with the pertinent information.
Okay, so you were getting kind of updates as it went along?
That's how
No, you
dispatch
get
and
the
fire
initial
works.
call,
Oh my God.
And then if it were pertinent for us, like the scene is secure, PD says the scene is secure, go in, then we would get that. PD would call dispatch and dispatch would then call us.
Okay, so were you aware at all that they had asked him to come outside?
No.
Okay.
So you were in the shower?
Do you
just
use?
saw that he
Do
was
you use?
outside,
Are you
but didn't know
zestfully
that
clean?
The 911 operator had told him to come outside, is that correct?
I did not know who he was or how he was involved in it when we
Okay.
arrived.
So on those dispatch updates, it wasn't saying like shooter is in-house or shooter is outside or anything like that? Okay. That wouldn't
No,
be,
the
to
scene
us.
was secure.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
might be to the police
What is she trying to get
I
at?
don't know.
we would hear.
Okay.
I don't think she knows.
In this case, Captain Keller, do you know for a fact that CPR had not been given?
I do not know for a fact.
And do you know for a fact that CPR had been given?
I know for a fact that we gave CPR.
Prior to your coming in?
No.
We gave it prior to her coming in. Yeah, that
Okay,
makes
questions?
sense, Lori.
All right, redirect.
That's where she ends it. What is she arguing? Is she arguing that like they didn't give CPR to him quick enough and that's what killed him?
Pause it for just a second. I think
Yeah.
what she's trying to argue
When the heart
is
stops and the blood is no
that
longer
maybe there's doubt
I would
that
expect
they
to see
did try to
modeling
do CPR. You know,
That's
and
not
that
what's up
maybe
for
they just
debate
weren't
here.
good at it.
So what? This is
At least
about
it's
her
an attempt.
conspiring to kill him. This is not about if they
Right.
did CPR quick enough.
Right. But I can tell you, when the paramedics got there and they said that they felt that initial crunch, when you do that compression on the very first time, you're going to get that crunch come back to you like, oh shit, I just cracked the sternum. It's a very sobering thing when you
Ugh.
first do it.
I'm shivering.
I know it's awful, but it's a very telltale sign that you are the first one to do compressions, unless they were sitting there going, doink, doink, doink. I'm kind of trying to do CPR, but I'm not doing it very well.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, the scene was quiet. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff around there. They walked in and went, it looked a certain way. They can't decide the cause of death, but it was pretty obvious. They looked around and went, okay, nobody tried to do anything here. The guy
Yeah.
was shot twice and he dropped and they left him kind of there and made it look like a setup.
Well, and the way he was shot, there's nothing anyone could have done.
Right.
Like at the end of the day, it does not matter if
Right.
someone had tried to do CPR or not. It would have been like nice if like Alex had attempted it, then it would show like he was trying to not leave him to die. But again, it really wouldn't have mattered. If anyone's at fault for not attempting CPR, it's Alex. Or anyone else in that house, for that matter, at that initial moment, because it took him 40-some minutes to call 911.
47 minutes.
So when it takes you that long, the person at fault is Alex. And Lori, you're connected to Alex. That's what this case is about.
Right. She's losing focus of what they're after. It's not,
I don't know.
Did you do CPR? Who shot him? That's what's pertinent here.
Well, she's trying to. This doesn't even connect to her. This is a family tragedy story of that Charles was going to beat Tylee with a bat. Isn't that kind of what she was saying the other day, or something of that
But it felt
nature?
like, yeah.
And then Alex came in and got in between that and got the bat away and shot him because he was going to beat Tylee with a bat, because there's so much evidence to show that he was an abusive father to Tylee. There's nothing. Just out of nowhere, he's going to go beat the hell out of Tylee. God. But again, you're dealing with a crazy person. The dots don't connect. They will never connect.
She's got a theory and she's trying to lead them to that theory, is what it feels like.
Yes. I think she thinks she's going to have some miraculous day in court where it's going to be like her Matlock moment. And
Yeah.
like, see, I've
I
uncovered
did
the
order
truth.
the code red. Yeah.
Let's watch a little bit more of this. This is going to be more of the same guy, and this is redirect.
You told us, I think on direct, that lividity is something that you see much later.
Yes. I would
Told
expect
ya.
that, yes.
Have you treated patients before within a few minutes of their heart stopping?
Yes.
Do you see lividity in those people?
No.
Do you see modeling in those people?
No. You see skin conditions change in those people, gray or cooling, moist moisture, but not mottling or lividity.
So you're not here to tell us how long it takes for those to form, right?
I don't know.
All you can tell us is that it's something that you see in patients who are deceased
Yes.
For a while.
and have been deceased long enough, whatever time period that is, for that to happen.
Right. It is an indication of
Death.
the patient no longer being a viable patient.
And they've been there for a while.
And that
Yeah.
was one of
That condition.
the things that you noted and used in determining to end any life-saving measures.
Yes.
Now, is the only way to know if CPR has been given to be there with the person watching them?
No.
What else can tell you that CPR was given to a patient?
Well, PD on scene arriving would witness. The best way would be witness CPR.
That's the best way. Is there any other ways?
Well, yes. Again, you would have an indentation in the chest. The sternum would likely have been cracked loose from
There
the
it
rib
is.
cage.
Can you reconnect the sternum after if you live? Like, how does that work? What happens
Well,
then?
maybe Nephi could have.
You obviously use CPR or CCR.
CCR,
sometimes
Confederate Railroad,
when
comes
there's
over.
Not trauma, cardiac.
In this case, were other indicators the blood that was pooling only at the neck and not spread out further?
Yes.
The lack of pooling underneath the victim?
Yes, and the mechanical action of doing compressions with
Right.
a gunshot wound right there would have spread blood in that
go.
area as well. It wouldn't just have gone where gravity is.
So where you saw the blood pooling was where gravity, a low spot.
That was my interpretation of it. Yes.
And you did not observe spread blood across his chest.
No.
Would ongoing CPR movement of the blood through the body have also limited the modeling you may have seen?
Perhaps.
Ultimately, is it your opinion that it is unlikely that CPR was given to this patient prior to fire arriving?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Yeah, no shit.
Are there any juror questions? I see at least one coming down. Please pass those down. Put on the white noise first.
I didn't
Oh,
know
they
that
do that here.
jurors can ask questions. That's pretty cool.
Some jurisdictions allow that. It's not everyone.
Okay.
But some allow,
This is
like,
the first I've ever heard.
yeah, there was a case last year that had it too. I forgot. I don't know which one it was.
I think that's smart because, it prevents them getting to the jury room 10 days later and asking a question, having to go back. Now they can ask right now.
The question is, how batshit crazy do you think Lori Vallow
right.
Daybell is? That'd be great.
Hey, they already lost a juror today, another one.
In
So
this
now
case,
there's 2 women. Yep. There's now just 2 women on the jury.
why did they leave? Do we know?
I believe she claims she saw a video that she didn't disclose.
Oh.
So she talked about it today that she had seen a video, that it was an algorithm issue had come up and she remembered that she had seen it. So they're dropping like flies.
I think she wants to not spend the next several weeks of her life enduring this.
Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Like,
I saw a video. Take me
Yeah.
out.
I watch a lot of TikTok. I saw a whole bunch of shit on this.
She pulled the rope on the bus, if anybody remembers what that is. Yeah.
Everybody out. Yeah.
So he sits there for a little bit.
He kind of looks like Colonel Sanders. I kind of like
That is
it.
treated differently than if someone has a heart attack.
Kinda does.
Read it. It was that the state
We got Lori having some fun here with the judge.
at the time, and advancements in technology may change what was able to be extracted, but that's different than the state withholding information.
That was the state's reading of the affidavit. I think the other concern comes from the fact that back on March 18th, when the state was filing motions to preclude Lonnie Dworkin, the court had a discussion with the defendant about this, about whether or not she wanted to waive time to have time for her expert to do this. And at that time, the court asked her if there was any one device that she wanted to review, which was, from the defendant's own mouth, Charles Vallow's phone. So now we have a motion that was filed, mind you, 7 days after they received the affidavit from their expert. So they held off on disclosing that while we weren't in trial, and then in the middle of trial, filed it, asking for information on numerous other devices that are in various other police agencies' possession. So,
Judge.
although I think ultimately, I mean, the big issue is clearly the state would object to any motion to dismiss. There is no exculpatory evidence. There's no even discussion of exculpatory evidence in Mr. Dworkin's statement or their very minimally fact-invasive motion, let alone any prosecutorial misconduct. But I think we're back to the issue of Mr. Dworkin and what he's going to be permitted to bring in or talk about at this point in this trial.
All right, did you want to argue that motion right now?
Not right now.
Right now.
All right, when do you want to argue it?
When?
Next
The
week.
main problem, do you want me to argue it right now?
I'm not asking you to, but I indicated when I read your motion that it does appear not to be any discovery violation, but that the state turned over the evidence that it had at the time, and advances in that software that maybe make more information available upon an extraction than was available when they did the extraction isn't a discovery violation. I'm looking at this as more of a discovery request for additional information, which at this point in the game, I'll allow you to do your discovery requests, but I don't know that any information that's discovered between now and the end of trial would be coming in because it's so late.
In reading that affidavit, I would agree with you that that was my initial thought as well. But the problem is that the problem that we have here is that that software was available and those things were available and they were not handed over from the state. They were never handed over from the state, and they've had that information for years. So that's why we filed that motion, is because of our expert was able to download the one device that we got, that he was able to see that the complete downloads were never given, that these are reports of downloads when we know that the state had available the entire complete extraction in the first place. They just didn't give us the entire extraction. They gave us the reports of the extractions, the ones that they wanted us to have. So those were available according to the technology. They just didn't give them to us on all of the devices. But we only have proof of it on one device because that's the only device that we were able to do in a timely manner.
All right. I want to clarify a little bit. They gave you the full extraction that was available to them at the time.
No, they pulled a report from the full extraction and gave us that. That's what they gave us.
State want to respond?
Your Honor, when you extract data from a device like a cell phone, it is put into a formula where it is not readable by anyone, which is why then you use the Cellbrite technology to basically parse that data into areas that we can read and view and review. So
Is that what was given to the
that
defense?
is what was given to the defense, was the 2019 or 2020 version of the Cellbrite technology that was used to take that extraction and put it into a readable form so that you can look at, for instance, not having to search through all this data to try to find out a text message. All of them are put together with dates and times and people and locations.
Your Honor, I would request that we can have a hearing on this so that I can bring in Lonnie Dworkin and he can explain that what they did not give us.
Well, just reading his affidavit is what they gave you is what they had available to them at the time. There's no affirmative duty for them to, every time a new software version comes out that makes maybe more data available, to rerun all the information.
We're not claiming that it is. We're claiming that they had a full extraction and they gave us a report of that full extraction instead of the full extraction on all the devices. It's not what only was available to them. They did have that available. They just didn't give it to us. It's cherry picking. It's cherry picking is what we got.
I don't read your own expert's affidavit the same way you're reading it, but.
That's why I'd like him to be able to come in and explain it. Can we set that up?
Well, we can set that up at some point, but again, this is all late and it's unlikely that anything
Your trial's going on.
Would lead to him being allowed to testify, but maybe we'll do that this Friday or something. I don't know. We'll have to squeeze it in, but I'm not going to make the jury wait to do that.
Okay.
We'll be at recess until 1:30.
There you go. Little
Wow. Wow.
little Flava Flav of the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell.
Wow. She was asking, one of the things that I had heard was she was asking what color the shirt was that Charles was wearing when the paramedics were cutting it off of him. What color was the shirt? And I'm just like, does any of this matter?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
It doesn't. Do you think he was wearing aftershave that day? Was it the
What
one
did
that
he
I
smell
bought
like?
him on our trip to Cancun all those years? Yeah, it's just her mind's firing in different places, and she thinks it all makes logical sense. Obviously, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think she's acting like what she's asking is important. She's acting like what she's asking she understands, and neither is it important, and neither does she understand what she's even talking about.
And that's what's disturbing. She should not be her own attorney.
No,
Nope.
she's not competent.
No.
Like, just because she understands that she's representing herself in court doesn't necessarily make you competent.
No.
There's too many other things going on in that woman's mind. But the circus continues. We'll have more lions and tigers and bears and more hot pokers that we can stick into the cage and watch all this go down as it continues. But you want to listen to the full day's coverage, we have it for you on our audio podcast, wherever you get podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi or True Crime Today or The Trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. There's a channel specifically for that if all you want to do is consume Lori Vallow Daybell material for the next several weeks. It will all be there for you to binge away on. So go. In the comments on YouTube, tell us what you think about the case thus far and her testimony and where this is all going. Does she have a point? Are we missing this? Are we seeing something not correctly through the prism of Lori Vallow Daybell? Let us know. More to come.
Craving non-stop true crime updates? Press subscribe now and get the latest cases, analysis, and expert commentary delivered straight to your feed. Only from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today. In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
Where hidden killers roam, unnoticed, in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Bruschi as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.